Hello, this is the very late video for chapter 15. You probably have already taken the test at least once. Maybe didn't have a chance to see this. Sorry I got it up so late. But let's go through the first part of the chapter. We'll probably do this in two videos, I guess. So this is chapter 15, Gerunds and Infinitives, part 2. It really just continues what we started in chapter 14. So the focus is mostly gerunds and infinitives again. Now this here I had a review of what we had talked about previously in the class. This does come up on the test a little bit. It is related to the gerunds and infinitives. I'm not going to go over these right now. We talked about it in class, but just to let you know that number 3 is incorrect, as we'll discuss in the next slide. And the number 5 is incorrect. He came here for study English is not okay. And number 7 is incorrect also. All the others are okay. Let's get into some of these rules. So we're talking about infinitives of purpose, first of all. And purpose just means why do you do something? What's the reason? What's the purpose? Why did you come to America? A question that you very well may hear someday. This one is okay to answer. I came here in order to study English. In order to study. It's a little phrasal expression there, and we have the infinitive at the end, in order to study English. That is the more common one. I came here to study English. Again, that's the purpose. These are infinitives of purpose. Why did you come to America? Well, to study English. On the very simple, I came here for English, had the for preposition, just followed by really any noun will work there. And this is also a bit of a review. One of these sentences is correct, but the other is incorrect. He apologized for breaking the mirror. He came here for studying English. Now in this case, A we have from the previous chapter, and it's fine. He apologized for, prepositional phrase. The gerund can come next, no problem. That's the usual rule. If you have a preposition, for, at, with, etc., a gerund will work well with that. B is our exception to that rule, the exception. He came here for studying English is a little awkward to native speakers' ears. We don't like to use the for and the gerund when we're talking about purpose. Why did he come here? And we like the infinitive. He came here to study, not for studying. It's an exception to the usual rule that you have to keep in mind. And here again, purpose with for. Usually a prepositional phrase with for can be followed by a gerund, as I just explained. He apologized for breaking the mirror. Thank you for being a friend. All those are wonderful. But when indicating purpose, we usually do not use a gerund with for. So he came here for studying English. Yeah, we don't like that. Not when you're talking about the purpose of something. For can still be followed by a regular noun, as I mentioned on the previous slide also. We came for the ice cream. That's kind of a shortened phrase. We can guess the long phrase would be, the long sentence would be, we came to eat the ice cream. Possibly we came to buy the ice cream. She's here for the car. We kind of know what the verb is going to be or can guess it. She's here to get the car. She's here to buy the car, depending on the context. Adjectives followed by infinitives. We'll cover that in this video also. We were sorry to hear the bad news. Now you can see that sorry is our adjective. That is an adjective. Be is the main verb of the sentence, we were. And then following the adjective we have the infinitive. And that's the way we usually like to do it. We were happy to hear. We were sorry to hear. Another example. I was surprised to see Ted at the meeting. So again, you have your be verb, your adjective, and then followed by the infinitive. Very common structure that we have. The adjectives often express feelings. Now again, again, I'm saying often, not always, just often you will see these kinds of adjectives that express, sorrow, that's a feeling, surprise, that's also kind of a feeling, a mental state. I was angry to find out what he had said. Again, that's your feelings about it. I was thrilled to hear that you will visit. I am proud to be your father. And proud, that's also kind of a feeling. Now again, I said the adjectives often express feelings, but not always. Here's an exception. You are lucky to have such good friends. And that's not exactly expressing an emotion and a feeling, but again, it's an adjective that works with the structure. There are a lot of other adjectives that are not emotions, not feelings, that do follow this structure. If you look on page 333, you can see a list of adjectives that are commonly followed by the infinitive. Now this one we will not get into here. I want to finish up this part of the video with infinitives with to and enough. These are also some structures, some common sentences that we typically use the infinitives with. Before we get into the infinitive part, I wanted to make sure that you're okay with the difference between very and to. It's kind of important to know for using the infinitives. If we say the soup is very spicy, that means something different than the soup is too spicy. In the next scenario, you gave her your credit card, you are very trusting. Or the next sentence, you gave her your credit card, you are too trusting. Almost identical sentences, but the meanings are different. Each intended meaning is quite different than the other one. So if you go ahead and check that. To implies a negative result, or that something is impossible. So if I say that box is too heavy to lift, I'm telling you, I can't lift it. It's too heavy to lift. There is our infinitive, by the way. That's what we're leading up to. Her opponent is too strong, which means she can't win. It's impossible. It's kind of a negative result of that. You are too trusting. Now, if you use the to, not the very, if you use the to here, they're trying to tell you, don't be so trusting. It's a negative result. Because you are so trusting, it causes trouble. It causes you problems. So that's the difference between the two. Now where the infinitive comes in is if you use the to along with it, usually we need to know, because of this, what is impossible? What is the problem? And that's where the infinitive comes in. The box is too heavy to lift. Her opponent is too strong to beat. You are too trusting. Here it doesn't quite work out. But again, you could have something like you are too trusting to be that way. Something like that could work out. Here we have some more examples. It is too hot to study. It is too late to stay here. It's too early to go home. We'll use the infinitives quite often with these two structures. Because you need to say, well, it's too hot for what? What does it make impossible? It makes this impossible. This is the problem here. And so on. Now, if you put very here, it doesn't quite work. On the test, you need to kind of identify that. If you say it is very hot to study, the meaning is not clear. What do you mean it's very hot to study? Are you saying you can or you can't? That's what the person will ask you. It's a little bit of too ambiguous, too vague of a phrase. So if I say to someone, the second one, oh, it's very late to stay here, let's say, well, okay, maybe it's late, but what are you saying? Are you saying we should go? Are you saying it's too late to stay here? Or are you just saying, oh, it's very late, but it's okay? It's really kind of unclear. That's why when you have the infinitives, it's very common to see that with the to phrases. And that's what you'll see on the test quite a bit. Now enough, we can also talk about. I am strong enough to do what? To lift the box. We have enough money For what? Well, to stay in a good hotel. Another common use of the infinitives. The word placement is important. That will show up on the test. If you use the word enough and you have an adjective that you're talking about, you want to put it after the adjective. I am strong enough to lift. I am smart enough. I am, I don't know what you could say, handsome enough. Whatever you want to say there. If you are modifying a noun, just make sure it comes before the noun. We have enough money to stay in a good hotel. We have enough time. We have enough, people, whatever you're talking about. So remember that word order. That will show up on the test. And I'll skip this part here, which we did in class. And I think that will do it for the first part of the video. We do have some more parts of this chapter to talk about, but we'll just stop here for now, and I'll come back with the second video.